have a book out there. I'm not James Patterson or Stephen King, and writing isn't really my goal, but I do enjoy it and make some money from it. I make between $100 to $300 a month on a new book, based on the type of book and the time of year it came out. As I already said, I don't do it for the money. I work full-time, but I also do a lot of side jobs as a musician and artist, because it makes me happy. Making art makes my life better and keeps me from getting stuck in bad mental health loops. This is especially true now that I have been diagnosed with depression, anxiety and PTSD. When I was a kid, I started writing because I have severe dyslexia. You know how some people look like they want to jump into oncoming traffic when you spell a word wrong? I'm worse. Please text me instead of telling me what to do. Every time my brain has to remember too many words at once, I start to worry. I've tried every trick, class and app for TikTok, but it's not my strong suit. I'm also good at other things like writing code or making plans for events. I have other skills. Like Dory, who has trouble reading, I just do my best and keep going. In addition, I was constantly teased and picked on as a child, and I was called a dunce. So the trauma goes on. One time, I was in the paper in my small town for an event at school. I was in the second grade at the time. As a project for the end of the year, I used old things to make a whole town and gave it a story. I worked on it for months, even figuring out how to make it folding, so that my grandfather's minivan could carry it more easily. My story was written by hand in my messy kid handwriting, and had 10 parts. My teacher was Ms. Rachel. It's okay for me to use her real name since I don't care about that woman. She walked away after telling me that my project wasn't very good, and that I shouldn't expect much from her. I lost my project because her son, who was in my class, stomped on it. I had people and pets made out of Play-Doh. He broke them, and when I cried, he pointed and laughed at me. Then, he put copies of the story with my picture on them, but he added a dunce cap and funny faces all over the school, lunchroom, homeroom, etc. Yes, I will say that if that guy really worked hard, he could cure cancer. It was bad luck that Mark's mom moved at the same time as me, so guess who got to hang out with that gem for 3 years? In 4th grade, Mark pushed my lockers. Every day he called me stupid. I was called dumb and fat in 5th grade. As a kid, I was too thin. Now I'm in my early 30s and I'm still really bad at reading and writing. I live in a different place. I have a life and have learned how to deal with and use my weird brain. From childhood pain, therapy, and other things, I moved on. Something I liked about Simon was that he seemed to like me too, so we agreed to have non-date causal hangouts to see if we liked each other enough to go on a date. We hung out alone a few times, but one time he was really late, so I took out my laptop. When he got there, he saw me and asked what I was doing. I told him I was writing my next book, feeling embarrassed. I told him I published my first book when I was 17, and have done so every year since. I also told him about Ms. Smith, Mark, and other scary stories I won't go into because this is already a novel, but that they made me want to prove them wrong and fight the weird idea that neurodiverse people are stupid, etc. I told him no when he asked to read it. I choose to write under a pen name because some Amazon reviews can make you want to separate your soul from your body. This way, I can keep writing from my everyday life. It turns out that my pen name is easy to figure out if you know me and my odd interests. That makes it easy to find since I talked about Amazon and, well, my bio makes it pretty clear. When we saw each other again, he asked if I was that author. My shocked Pikachu face told him, and he started reading the series. The next time we met, he laughed and said, "I see why you don't put your name on your works. Don't quit your day job. Your writing stinks." He then put one of my books on the bar. I had to let go of my shoulders. He kept talking and laughing while I couldn't see what he was saying. He kept saying that he was wasting hours of his life, and that someone should take my laptop, because it might be a deadly tool meant to kill us all with boredom. It turns out that he doesn't like riddles or fantasy. I told him it might not be his style, and he said, "A 3rd grader could have done better, thank goodness I'm good at my job." After that, I could tell he had seen my face and changed his mind. You don't do it for money, so it doesn't matter, right? He told me I have other skills and didn't believe I made money from this at all. He said of course I buy my own books and probably buy a lot of them to boost sales. That's not something I do. I just laughed it off and smiled. Well, I can't please everyone, but my last book sold 250 copies this month, so some people must like it, I rationalized. However, I was sure at that moment that I did not want to follow him any further. When he texted to see when we were going to hang out again, I told him I wasn't interested, and that I could handle any kind of criticism or note, but the way he went about it was hurtful, and I don't want to be with someone who treats me that way for fun. I told him that we are different people, but I would like to stay friends because we get along well otherwise, but nothing more. He got mad at me and told me I acted out at the wrong time, because he was already having a bad day and now I made it worse. He also said I am rude and small for getting angry at honest feedback. He told me that if I care so much about honest views, I would have a hard time finding someone who would want to be dumb, because having makeup on, working, and nothing between the ears is all I have. The people in our group of friends asked me what was going on and told me I broke his heart, even though I blocked him. What did I think? How? They said he's been sad and has been asking about me. They also said he found out I stopped him on all of my accounts and wants to give me a gift for my birthday. I didn't ask him to my birthday party last week. Some of my friends say that this is not mature behavior for people like us. Even though I'm not perfect and have some bad habits, I don't want to be with someone who talks badly about me and my work and treats me badly. Am I crazy? A date. Hey, just so you know, Simon told all of our friends that I put down his accomplishments and called him stupid. That's not what I said. He also told them about my post, so he found it and began telling everyone that I was trying to hurt his reputation because a woman's words can quickly change how others perceive a man. He also told me that I should say he assaulted me next. Some of our friends were very mean to me, telling me I was picking on him and trying to hurt his reputation because he only asked a girl he liked to go out to drinks with him, and that I should say sorry and just go with him. Since then, they either haven't asked me to any events or have refused to go on dates with the group. It was really hard to accept. It really confused me because he was the one making fun of me, and I kept going over every conversation to see if there was something I said or did that made him mad. I didn't think to send the screenshots until I looked at our text and message logs. He called me a moron, and then when I turned him down, he called me fat, desperate, and stupid. This kind of message kept coming after he found my book series, so I took pictures of it and sent them to my friends. They were shocked. Simon claims that my sweet demeanor hides a mean and judgmental side, and that I lied to him and called him a loser when I told him I wasn't interested in dating him. I even took a picture of some of his mean or rude texts from before all of this happened. I also took a picture of my real rejection text and his reply and sent that along. Now things are different. Most of our friends think he was the and 2 of them say I'm giving my choice of screenshots to make him look bad, and they have seen the real screenshots of me being mean to him. They wouldn't show me those screenshots when I asked, saying I shouldn't worry about them if I wasn't guilty as a gotcha. I feel awful because I wanted to be friends with him, but now I can't look at him with any respect. It's good to know that things are back to normal with my friends. My next book is getting published, and I'm having a party for everyone except them. It was a strange ending, but oh well. Update 2. I chose to ignore Simon whenever he tried to get a rise out of me. He told the group he was sorry, but then he said he had to because he would be shunned otherwise. He said I was going after him with my social capital. Since then he's been trying to get mean words from me, but I haven't given them to him. Once a month, I can make a list of my 5 favorite books. He will have loud phone calls about the BTC issue broke his heart because women are so sensitive when he goes to places I also go to and sits next to me, even if there are other seats open, or if I move my usual spot leagues away. 2. Creating a fake account on almost all social media sites to follow my public accounts and leave reviews on any of my art, books, acting, or modeling. It doesn't matter what it is, he will say why I'm bad, and then he will just make a new account when I block the old one and delete his comments. 3. Whenever an event call comes up in group chat and I say I'm going, he will say things like, my girlfriend is the nicest person, but I don't think she'd want me to hang out with you, etc. He will tell me it's a good thing I'm not coming because of his girlfriend, or that he can't come now because his girlfriend will be mad if I do, because I'll be hanging out with an ex. We never went on a date, and whenever someone asks who his girlfriend is, he says she's shy and that he'll introduce her. 4. I told everyone in the group chat that I was going to be speaking at a conference, and they all praised me, but he said that was fine, but not newsworthy. He then looked up the conference and saw that a family member was also going to be speaking, and he suggested that was how I got the spot, and not because of my own skills. 5. Sharing this Reddit name with my friend group and linking to my first post as proof that I bully him, even though I haven't talked to him, named him, or left most or all of the information that could be used to find him. He says I took out the worst parts, and I can't show that I didn't, so whatever. All of that has been going on, and yes, I cleared his number because it was messing up what I saw in the group chat, but I wasn't motivated to figure it out. On top of that, he no longer texts me directly. I went to stay with my parents for a week about a week ago. The house I was staying in was a short drive from my own. I only told the few people in the group who didn't agree with Simon the first round of lies. I worked during this time and worked on my book and came up with a new pen name during my free time. I chose to change everything about the world I made up in my fiction, and I was thrilled when I finished designing the cover for my first book. Everyone in the group saw it except him and his 2 flying monkeys. He then lost it in the group chat and said I was trying to show off again and steal his attention because, as we all know, he is putting out his first book on Amazon this summer, and me putting out mine at the same time with my fancy cover and all that was just bullying. He thought of it as if I had worn white to his wedding. To be honest, I was done. I had to put up with this for months. I made it clear that he had never talked about a book with me, and showed him a screenshot where he talked about writing as a job for someone with an intellectual condition. In this case, I decided not to change the word. One word can change everything. The group of friends seemed to think the word I blocked was milder and not a slur, even though we had very different views on almost everything except politics. When they told him he was using a slur, he said that as an autistic person, he felt he could use that word. He said it was like how I might be able to say the N-word because of my past, though he used the full term. I ended the chat by saying, okay, I'm done with this. I just left the chat without arguing or doing anything else. When the call came in, I put the phone down and said, that's enough humaning for today. Then I went about my work. This man sent me angry texts for hours until I got home from work, read them, and blocked him. Then I see ads for his book on Facebook and Instagram. He was pushing it on social media with ads that had his name on the cover, and got comments calling it incredible, a masterpiece, undiluted artistry, even though it hasn't come out yet. He said that his book would be out in August. I remember because my next book is coming out in July. He used that as more proof that I was keeping him up to date, like setting my wedding date before my brothers showed up. He saw me at a place I often go to sing karaoke a few nights ago. I was pretty upset that he was there because I had been drinking, so when he called my name I was pretty open about it. I moved out of the way and said hello in a cold but polite way. He could tell I wasn't feeling well and laughed out loud asking, "Oh, "Are you in a different mood?" I chose to ignore him and move my seat closer to the singers and some friends. A few regulars told him to leave me alone because he was making up a story that we slept together, which I believed. Now I'm avoiding him and acting like I hate him because he's writing a book. The reviews he got on social media made him say that I made him want to write, and that I thought his book was better. Some people then called him a creep, and he got mad about it, like yelling and such. He told me to come over here and tell them the truth, and that I was trying to make a bad name for him, and the time we slept together. It turns out that you get kicked out if you start screaming that kind of thing in a public place while there is karaoke to someone that a lot of people in the room know. Since then, it's been very quiet. He is no longer in the group chat after I told them what happened. Some people are still talking to him, but they haven't told me boo directly. I guess this is the end of my report. It wasn't very exciting, but it was crazy, so I had to share it. My neighbors know because one of the regulars at the bar lives close enough to walk to me and told everyone at the pool, etc. I have seen nice people walking my dog and other times who have told me to call them if I need anything. I have never talked to them, but they seem very helpful. He had never been this way before, so I didn't know people could be this way. He was always nice to everyone in the group, and we pretty much agreed on everything. He would compliment me on how smart and pretty I am, and he would even joke, "I'm not hitting on you," and laugh. I really can't wait for August. I'm going to be the first one to buy his book. The guy has been advertising under his real name, so. Update 3. I'm sorry I forgot to update this. I kept changing my mind because I said my last update was the last one, and I'm not used to making posts. Someone left a comment that made me think of this, so here's the update from last month. If you don't care, you don't have to read it, but if you do, here it is. The Promise book by Simon came out on January 1st. The cover art looks like it was made by AI, and I know he's really into a site or program called Midjourney that he uses this month on Amazon to make jokes. His page says it's the first book in a series. It had reviews talking about how great it was even before it came out, so I went ahead and bought a copy. It is a story about magic, about 30 or so episodes. It's smutty, but in a way that a horny teenage boy would want it to be, if that makes sense. I don't want to give away too many details that could be used to find him or me, but I also don't think too many people read it. I read it all the way through. There is an elf character whose name is my real first name and who sleeps with the main character. She looks a lot like me, right down to my dyed hair. She is found to be a selfish traitor and is killed, just like in Game of Thrones. Some friends who know both of us talked about it, and even brought the book for us to read while we sipped drinks. They all agreed that it was written out of anger. They even pointed out that other characters named, and given the vague appearance of other people Simon knows, or has talked about, and the ones we know he doesn't like the group of friends that broke up with him all got hurt. And characters with the names of his two friends who sided with him still waiting for those screenshots and proof I bullied this man, became rulers of this made-up land, and were portrayed as heroic sidekicks to the main character whose real name is Simon, who is the hero of the story. I don't mean to be mean, but it had a lot of story holes. It was clear that it hadn't been edited. I said I wouldn't be mean because the guy did write a book, which is an amazing accomplishment in and of itself. Sometimes it's frustrating, and it takes a lot of hard work and time. I'm not trying to put down his work in any way, good job, but it's clear that it was done quickly. The chapters are all different lengths, some are really strangely short and broken up, while others are really long and wordy. Get someone to read your book if you write one. Believe me, I'm also a very wordy person, in case you haven't noticed El Mayo, and my brain has a hard time with mistakes like typos. You shouldn't put anything out there without having at least one person you know read it over at least once to make sure there are no mistakes. Simon blinked at me when he saw me out and about a week ago. I mean, he was dead set on me. Before he even spoke, I knew what was going to happen. His book had to be talked about. He was so nice to me that it was too nice, but I can't explain the look in his eyes. He hates me. He told me that he had written a book too, that it was so easy, and that it was selling really well, probably better than mine. I remember his exact words, "Yeah, I was so surprised. I think I have like double your numbers or something. Maybe it's how I marketed it or something. Maybe you should try," and then he gave me tips that I clearly needed. Then he handed me a copy to read. I told him I already had one because I bought it as soon as I could. He looked shocked, so I told him I wanted to support other authors. He said, "You did, huh? Where is it?" I said I let a friend borrow it, and he handed me a copy anyway, implying that he thought I was lying or being sarcastic. I had taken a picture to text to a friend, so I showed him the picture of his book on my coffee table. He sort of glossed over that by saying, "Well, now you have an extra, so your friend can keep the other one." I thanked him, but he crossed my path and asked if I read it and then what I thought of it. He smiled and said, "Yeah, I thought you'd act that way, but I just kept going." That night, one of our mutual friends posted on Facebook about how jealous people are so funny, and that his book was selling a lot of copies. Another friend commented on the post, "Could you send me a screenshot of the dashboard that would show those sales?" and then commented on a picture I sent in our old friend group chat of my sales from a few months ago, when I had a sales bump. So my friend scrolled back in the chat, took a screenshot of that part that showed it was mine, and left a comment below it, which caused a lot of drama. People quickly went from congratulations to WTF, and Simon deleted the whole post and blocked my friend. Since then he has avoided me in public but kept up his fake social media accounts, and insulted me whenever he could. He gossips to himself on these accounts about how fake, rude, a bully, jealous, and other things I am. If I block one another, a comment from another account outs me as someone who blocks people I don't agree with for calling me out. It became kind of a game to see whose accounts are hidden in our new friend group chat, where we post screenshots of the comments and messages. That's why I quit blocking him. Because I know Simon is reading this, I'm going to keep this account and join the writer subs here. You're welcome to follow this account, and good luck with your sequel. I'll be the first to buy it.